The movie opens in chaos. Nate's dangling in the sky, clinging to cargo boxes that are literally hanging out of a cargo plane midair, just vibing with death. He climbs, fights, scrambles his way back inside, only to immediately get hit by a car. A red car. On a plane. Midair. Welcome to Uncharted. Before we figure out if Nate dies or not, we flash back 15 years earlier to Boston. A younger Nate and his older brother Sam are breaking into a museum because that's what you do when you're broke and obsessed with historical treasure. They're after a map from the Magellan expedition, convinced it leads to hidden gold. But the cops catch them. Sam's on his third strike, so he gets kicked out of the orphanage and probably sent to juvie or prison. Before disappearing, Sam gives Nate a ring with Latin engraved on it, something about greatness and fate, and promises he'll come back. Nate waits and waits. But Sam never returns. Back in the present, Nate's in New York working at a bar and robbing rich people on the side with that charming fake smile. One night, this guy named Sully shows up. He's older, confident, full of stories, and he's seen Nate steal. He invites Nate to join him on a job, claiming he knew Sam. Nate's like, nah, but when he finds out Sully stole the bracelet Nate pickpocketed, he tracks him down for a little revenge visit. Inside Sully's apartment, Nate finds the map, Magellan's original voyage. Sully says Sam and he were working together before Sam just vanished. Sully claims finding the treasure might help them find Sam. Nate says no. But later, when he opens a memory box full of postcards Sam had secretly sent him all these years, he puts on the ring and changes his mind. He's in. Now here's the setup. There's a big auction coming up. A golden cross that's actually a key is about to go on sale. Sully already has one of them. They need this second one to move forward. Nate studies the building's layout, and they plan a classic heist. At the auction, they run into Santiago Moncada, whose family funded Magellan's trip centuries ago. Santiago believes the treasure is his birthright. He's got muscle, too. His lead mercenary is Joe Braddock, Sully's very dangerous ex-partner. She's the type who'll cut you before saying hi. Sully acts as a bidder to distract while Nate sneaks into the building's power room, but Joe's men spot him and a fight breaks out. Nate causes chaos by swinging from the ceiling lights like a drunk Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Sully pretends to be auction staff and swipes the cross during the commotion. Joe corners him with a knife, but security steps in before things get stabby. Sully walks out with the cross, cool as ever, and he and Nate jet off to Barcelona. On the plane, Sully shows Nate Magellan's journal. It confirms the legend. Magellan found the gold, lied to the Moncadas, and hid it. The key? Still missing clues, but everything points to Spain. In Barcelona, they meet Chloe Fraser, a rival treasure hunter who has the other cross. She hates Sully, but is willing to work with Nate. After she steals their cross and Nate chases her through the streets, they agree to team up. Chloe has the crosses, Nate and Sully have the journal. No choice but to work together. Meanwhile, Santiago tries to convince his father not to give away their blood-stained fortune. Dad refuses, so Santiago kills him. That escalated quickly. Back to the crew. They figure out the tree in the clue actually refers to a church with pine in the name. Inside, they find statues, secret switches, and booby traps straight out of Tomb Raider. Nate and Chloe go into the underground tunnels, while Sully stays above to guide them via tracker. Underground, Nate and Chloe nearly drown in a water-flooded chamber. Sully gets ambushed by Joe, and they fight it out until Sully smashes her into a glass case, breaks it, and uses the cross to save the duo. They all meet again in an ancient Roman chamber. They find 3 giant urns, but instead of gold, they're full of salt. After smashing them in frustration, they find a map inside. Nate's thrilled until Chloe pulls a gun on him and steals it. Nate wakes up with Sully, pissed. He demands the truth about Sam. Turns out Sully didn't abandon Sam. Well, not on purpose. They were ambushed by Joe's team after finding the journal. Sam was shot. Sully ran. Nate's heartbroken. But after reading Sam's old postcards again, he decides to keep going. This isn't about gold anymore. It's about finishing what his brother started. Joe's working with Chloe now, but she's clearly the alpha in this partnership. While they set up their operation at Santiago's private airport, Nate and Sully sneak into his red car's trunk. Once on board the cargo plane, Joe kills Santiago because apparently she didn't like his motivational speech. Chloe tries to bail, Joe chases her, and Nate and Sully try to escape with parachutes. Then Nate makes a rookie mistake. He confronts Joe instead of fleeing. Which brings us full circle to that opening scene. Nate falling out of the plane, fighting Joe's men midair, crawling up dangling cargo. Chloe in the stolen car literally drives out of the plane, crashing into Nate. But she saves him mid-fall by grabbing his hand and deploying a parachute. Movie physics, baby. They land in the sea, wash up in the Philippines, and regroup. At a hotel, Nate uses Sam's postcards and finally solves the last puzzle. The real map is a fake. The postcards reveal a secret code. Use the crosses as a compass. That's where the gold is. Chloe wakes up, finds the real coordinates Nate wrote down, and bails. But plot twist, Nate knew she'd betray him and gave her fake coordinates. Classic sibling training. Nate follows the real trail, swims through a hidden tunnel, and finds the actual treasure. 2 Magellan ships, hidden in a cave and still full of gold. Sully shows up thanks to a tracker, and they start loading gold. Then Joe and her crew bust in and airlift both ships out of the cave using helicopters. Yup, flying pirate ships. Sully and Nate hide in the ship and start picking off the guards one by one. Joe's ship gives chase, and Nate starts using old cannons filled with gunpowder to fight back. His lighter finally works, he fires a shot, and Joe's chopper gets roasted. Joe survives and climbs aboard Nate's ship, cutting the anchor to trap them. But Sully, in a moment of growth, tosses his gold at her and knocks her into the sea. A ship falls on her seconds later. Good night, Joe. Nate and Sully escape, but the Philippine Navy arrives, so no treasure for them. Except, plot twist again, Nate hid some gold in his pants. Legend. As they fly off, Sully laughs about Chloe chasing them on a motorboat, and Nate flashes that winning grin. Cut to a secret prison. Sam's still alive. Scribbling on postcards, warning Nate to watch his back. In a bonus scene, Nate meets with a shady guy connected to someone named Roman. Yep, video game fans know who that is. They get double-crossed, but Sully shows up for the rescue. They escape again, and we're clearly being set up for a sequel. So what's the big takeaway? This movie's all about legacy, trust, and how chasing gold can cost you everything. Family, loyalty, maybe your life. But it's also about why we chase. Nate starts out chasing treasure and ends up finding himself, and some gold, in his pants. If you like this recap, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment with what movie you want us to break down next. Till then, keep your lighter close,